How's everyone? My name is Whitney, and today we have Marley, and welcome to Training Tips Tuesdays. What we are going to be covering today is how to get your dog's attention, and that way you can train. Obviously, if you don't have their attention, if they're looking around, engaging with other animals, other people, other objects, things like that, you're not going to be able to teach them anything. And I chose Marley here to help us because he's kind of my scaredy cat of the group, and so we haven't done a lot of training with him. It's been more about building his confidence versus actually teaching him, obedience cues or tricks or anything like that. And so that's why I wanted to use him. He's normally not allowed in this room, so you'll notice that he's not paying very good attention to me. He kind of clues back in every now and then, but for the most part, he's kind of exploring, looking around. He's a little bit nervous because, like I said, he's not used to being in this room, and he's used to being with the other dogs as well. And so he'll probably walk in front of me in the camera, but I really wanted to use him because my other dogs know kind of how to focus on me and pay attention, and so that's why we are using Marley today. And so he's not gonna be the perfect dog and be perfectly in position or anything like that, but he's a good one to kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. So my first tip for kind of teaching them to pay attention is to teach them their name. And so I like to play the name game, and a lot of trainers will teach you this if you do work with a trainer, is the name game. And so you're going to teach them their name essentially. And one of my tips for this is to either say their name in a very distinct manner when you want their attention and you want them to respond, or have nicknames for everyday use and then only use their full name when you do want their attention. So with Marley, most of his nicknames sound a lot like Marley. Come here, bud. Come over here. Over here, please. Right here. Most of his nicknames do sound like Marley. I call him Barley, Marbar, Bear, and so a lot of his nicknames kind of sound like his name. And so when I say Marley, very distinctly, very kind of cut off, he knows, a lower tone, and that way he knows I want him to pay attention. And so all we're going to do here, and I don't want him necessarily focusing on the treats, they're just a tool to help you teach them and make it fun for them. And so I'll go, Marley, and I might even use the treat to bring his attention up to my face, and that way he's knowing to look at me. And so we'll go, Marley. Good. He didn't move his head there, so you guys can't quite see what he's doing, but he did lift his eyes and look at me. And so that's exactly what I want. Marley. Marley. Good boy. Good boy. And so it's really super simple. All you're going to do is, Marley. Good boy. Is say their name. And if you're using a clicker, I didn't bring one in here with me, but if you're using a clicker, you're just going to say, Marley. And the moment he looks at you, or your dog's name obviously, and the moment they look at you, you would click and treat. Marley. Good boy. Good boy. You can also use word markers as well instead of a clicker. It's essentially the same thing. My word marker, if I use one, is yes, said very distinctly like that. And so you can also do that. Good boy isn't really a marker, it's more praise, but it helps get the point across that they did kind of it's kind of a reward essentially for them. And so now he's walked away, he hears the other dogs outside the door, Marley! And when he comes back, he gets the treat. So he's coming to me, he's bringing his attention to me. He said, good boy. Good boy. Come here, sir. Come here. Hey? Good boy. And so I'll start using a reward marker now. Marley, yes, good boy. And so he looked at me and I caught it, but then he kind of glanced away, but that's okay. Marley, yes, good boy. You so silly. Good boy. You good boy. And so I'm just kind of waiting for him to take his attention off me. Marley! And if he doesn't respond, so like I said his name, but he's distracted, he's looking, I have some stuff hanging, so he was in tune to that. So you're just going to wait a second and then repeat. So Marley! Yes, good boy. Don't just sit there and say their name over and over and over and over again, because then you're going to weaken the association of what you want them to do with that word, which is their name. And so the same thing like with any cue, sit down. You don't want to just sit there. You don't want to just sit there and repeat it. Marley. 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 Yes, good boy. And so that took a couple times, but you noticed I paused a few seconds to give him a chance to respond in between. Marley. Good boy. And you don't want to use their name to call them to you if you are going to be doing something that's kind of aversive to them. So like grooming or bath time, anything like that. You don't want to use their name. You just want to go to them and get them. Because then if you're doing aversive things, you can on occasion if you need to use their name. Marley. Marley. Yes, good boy. He's a good boy. He's a little bit nervous. He hears the other dogs out there, and then he's in the room he's not allowed, so he's a little bit nervous. Good boy, thank you. And then another thing, once you kind of get their attention, and so they know their name now, you say Marley, they get their attention. And if they don't know their name, come here. Marley, come here. Right here. Come on, get it. Sit. Good boy. So, say you just adopted a dog from a shelter or you have a puppy and they don't know their name. That's okay. So, in that situation, you say their name, Marley, and you don't get their attention. You can do another noise or something to kind of get their attention so they'll look at you. But the name should precede whatever noise you're doing. So, Marley, good boy. Marley. Yes, good boy. Marley. Yes, good boy. You can cluck, you can squeaky squeaky, like whatever, yes. I know, did I make a funny noise? You can do whatever you need to get their attention, just don't keep repeating their name. And it's a good idea to say their name like very kind of in a happy tone. What? Marley? Marley? Yes, good boy. I'll take that. He was kind of actually looking out the window, but that's fine too. Sit. Good boy. Good boy. And I'm just using, but he can't see it if you stand in front of the bag. He says, those are my treats. I don't want to show them. I'm just using Zooks Minis as training treats. With my dogs, they're all foodies, so a lot of times I'll just use their kibble, and we'll do a little training session with their kibble. So, Marley. Marley. Yes, good boy. And even like right now I'm sitting down, but like if I was standing up and I was trying to get his attention and it was drawn somewhere, I might say, Marley, and then move, like use movement to kind of move away and call him towards me. Yeah? Good boy. Marley. Yes, good boy. Good boy. You're being super attentive. I was hoping he'd be a little bit more distracted, but Marley! Yes, good boy. But he's actually doing very good. He's ready to work. Before, I've had him 5 years, but he was supposed to be a foster so I could work with him. And before, if I took him where he was separated from the other dogs, I couldn't get him to pay attention or do anything because he would just find a spot to hide and lay in the corner. So he's come a long way. He still gets a little spooked, but he's definitely come a long way. Marley, yes, good boy, good boy. Marley, yes, good boy. All my dogs kind of know to sit when I'm asking for their attention, even him, and I haven't worked much with him. He knows sit, he knows his name, but like, down? We barely started working on down. Good boy! So he's still just learning that one, even though I've had him a long time. He said it's been mostly for him about building his confidence, but alright, sir. Good boy. But I think that's all we're gonna do today. So start working with your dog, getting them used to their name. Or if you have an older dog that knows their name, it doesn't hurt to do a little refresher. And when you're training somewhere new or you're training where there's more distractions or it's more difficult for your dog, a good place to start. So if you do have a dog that knows their cues, but say you have them at the park and you're trying to get them to pay attention, a good place to go is the name game. And try to remember not to get frustrated. Just make it nice, relaxed, and as you do it more and more, they're gonna get better. So, Marley, good boy. Marley, yes, good boy. Now he's doing a show off and doing it on his own. Marley, yes, good boy. But anyway, we're gonna leave it there today. And next week we are going to be working on sit, and so I hope you'll come back for that. Definitely make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell notifications, and please like this video, and we will see you guys next week.